Hello, and welcome to the series KAAI Women Around the World, a show where we interview our KAAI community to see how they organize their lives. Our KAAI microphone traveled all over the world to get all the ins and outs about their daily routines. Are you traveling with us?
Hello everyone, and welcome to the new episode of KAAI Women Around the World podcast. For this series, we packed the KAAI mic and sent it to different corners around the world to ask women about their ins and outs of their daily routines.
For this episode, the mic traveled to London to talk to Chloé Dall'Olio. Chloé is a video director with Italian roots. She's a self-described organized chaos who effortlessly blends her love for theater and dance with her job. But it doesn't stop there. She's also a true performer. She loves creating entertaining performances that often inspire her work behind the camera. Although she's not an organized person by nature, Chloé still has some habits to which she sticks. For example, she keeps on relying on a paper planner to get everything done, proving that sometimes even the most creative minds need a little old-fashioned organization. Welcome, Chloé. We're very excited to hear all about your life in London. Hey, hey.
Hi,
Nice to meet
Chloé.
you.
Nice to meet you.
Hey. So, Chloé, to start things off, is there something else that you want to share about yourself?
Good question. First of all, thank you so much for your introduction. I loved it. And I think it really describes myself really well. So thank you for that. Maybe something else that I haven't shared yet is that I'm really passionate about the queer community and about storytelling. So part of my job as well, outside my main job, is also getting to know stories about people, and especially from the queer community, and giving them a platform and a safe space in different ways. So organizing events and interviews and moments of gathering and sharing the love and the joy. So that's something else about me that I can add to the description. So yeah, I think I'm a true storyteller. So through my job and my creative practice, I think that's what I really love the most, like getting to know people, talking to them. And I think like it's very similar to what you do as well, right? Getting to know stories of women and cherish and celebrate with them. So I think I'm really much in line with what you're doing right now, and I'm very grateful.
Chloé, thank you so much for sharing that. You are a video director at the moment, but can you share a bit more about how you got there, actually?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a long story. So I was actually working in London in an art gallery, and then I happened to be contacted by my current boss, but yeah, I mean the founder of the company I work for, which is Trinny London, and she got me involved at the very beginning of the brand that she was about to launch, which is called Trinny London. It's a beauty brand, and it's like a fast-growing, amazing brand that lifts up women all around the world, women and everyone else. And she got in touch because she needed two creative souls that work well together to help her developing the brand. So I was working with this other Italian young woman called Federica. She got us involved, and we started working with Trini. So I was doing the creative side of things, and Federica was doing the spreadsheet side of things. And then we were kind of like seeing what was that about, and then eventually more people joined, and we helped launching this brand. That was in 2017 that we launched, and we started working with Trini, I think in 2015. And then from there, it has been a sort of like an amazing journey. I went from social media to create the content to setting up a video production team within the company. And then eventually my passion for actually making videos and being the creative side of business came out even more. And I was given the opportunity to actually focus on directing the entertainment content. So leaving on the side a little bit the management, which I still loved, but I think the creative side of things is actually my true power, and the emotional side of things. So getting to know really people from deep down, interviewing them and getting them involved in our shows, in our entertainment content, and give a voice again to people that maybe need a little bit of confidence, need a little bit of advice. And as a brand, we do this, we provide this, and I'm behind some of the content, especially the more kind of like, yeah, as I said already, entertaining, long form, short form. anything that has to do with getting to know people and giving them that lift that they maybe are looking for, or giving them inspiration. So that's how I got there.
It's quite inspirational to hear how, by working for the same employer, you basically like evolved yourself and you grow yourself as well, towards a point where you can actually do what you really like, right? Being creative, as a video director. So yeah, like really nice to hear that story.
Yeah, and Trini was also a very known person in England. So when you started, she had a whole history. So I think that's also exciting to start a new job with somebody like her who was really famous. I mean, he's still famous, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. To be honest, I did not know who Trini was at the time.
Okay. Yeah, she's maybe more from my generation. I know her from the past. Yeah.
I think it's because I'm from Italy, and in Italy, that the format of What Not to Wear was hosted by two different people, and not from Susanna. So I did not like.
Of course,
she wasn't on TV for me, so I wasn't aware.
Right.
But of course, when I looked her up, and then I was like, oh, that's really interesting. She's successful. I'm sure she has another successful business coming up, and that's why. So I saw her from a different perspective, not from, oh my God, it's Trini from TV. It's like, oh my God, this woman is like actually into something. Let me see what she has to offer, how we can work together.
Okay.
So probably I was the only one not knowing who she was. And I think that's really good as well, because it's a different perspective. You start collaborating with someone,
Yeah. Okay, great. So, Chloe, in this podcast, we discuss with KAAI women from all over the world how they organize their lives, and this to inspire each other and to give some tips and tricks. So, how does your day in a life look like? How do you start your day? What do you do? What are your tips for organizing? Because in the intro, it was already a little bit said, you're more a chaotic person. But so let's start your day. How do you start it?
Okay, let's get a typical day when I go maybe to the office. What do? I wake up.
Early or late?
I didn't prepare this. I'm feeling very nervous. No, it's normal. I wake up. What do? I cleanse my face. I have this really good skincare routine morning and evening that I didn't used to have in the past. But working with this brand and trying all the products now, I know how much important having a skincare routine is. So I would wash my face properly with the right products, and that really lifts me up already. I would have a really cold shower to wake up the whole body. I would actually stretch a little bit. I'm into Qigong, meditation, and actually dance. So I kind of put some music on and move around my room, even for a few minutes, just to wake up also my soul. And then I would get dressed, put maybe as now some mascara on. And if I feel like it, a lipstick. Otherwise, I can do a lip color later on in the office, but not too much. SPF, that's I do every day. I learned how important that is as well. And then I would go to work. That means walking to a bus, getting a bus, go to the tube. Before getting down the tube, I would get myself a really good oat cappuccino with extra chocolate on top. That's a must, because the cappuccino will help me throughout my tube journey to get to work and wake up as well. So with my coffee, I go to cross London, really, because the office is opposite where I live, but it doesn't matter. And I would walk to the office, and I would open my laptop and start working. And I would also sometimes open my sketchbooks and do storyboards if it's a period where I need to make storyboards for our videos. It depends. These days, these couple of weeks, I'm into selecting footage because we are shooting a show, and I'm also kind of working with the editors. So I would actually go through footage of what we filmed the previous week or 2 weeks ago and make selects on what I need the editors to put together to, again, tell the story of the show or the episode we're doing. And then lunch break, I would actually shut the computer, go to probably Itsu, which is a sushi chain, and get a sushi box or something really on the go, and get a walk outside because I really need fresh air, especially if it's sunny. And then I would carry on doing what I was doing in the afternoon. Usually there is a lot of meetings as well involved, so I would be in and out of meetings and then doing the creative things in between. And then am I monologuing? I think you asked me for the routine. I will carry on. And then when I finish, what would I do? I would go back home, or actually it's more likely that I will go to a performance or a show or a theater piece, or maybe for dinner with a friend. Like I'm trying to keep up my social life as well. So I would probably do something. I kind of rarely go home after work. So I would do something social or artistic, and then eventually go home, do my skincare routine, and then go to bed.
It looks
That's
like what we think about London. It's different than in Belgium. You take the tube and you're gone from the morning to the evening. And here in Belgium is different because we live normally closer to our work. So we go at home after work, we eat, and then afterwards we do the shows or the entertainment. So what if you have the whole day? You're all the time on the go. So you're really a KAAI woman on the go.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
And it's also typical to have the coffee in the tube. That's what we have the impression about somebody in London.
That's true.
So, but what is then different with the people around you that you would say, what is typical me, how I do it?
That's a good question. So I think the routine of people that work with me in the office or like in a similar job to me is quite similar. Maybe some people live closer to the office, so they will pick up a bike, which is more similar to you probably, or walk to the office. But people that live, like, I think the majority of my colleagues live more or less like at the same distance as me. It's like usually like 50 minutes journey to go to work and then 50 back. So I think they have a similar routine in terms of like my closer colleagues at work. But I also have I sort of feel like I'm living a parallel life as well, because my friends and my partner and people that I hang out with outside work are mainly artists or musicians. So they have a different lifestyle from me, because they usually work in the evenings or in the weekends, which is opposite from me. I work during the week, and then evening and weekends I try and be social or do my creative practice. So I feel like it's different in the way, well, working time, but also how the day is organized. I live within a company, so I have my day structured based on how we can collaborate with other. Actually, you know what, though? They have the same meetings with other people. It's just a different time of the day. So actually, I think society nowadays, if you if you need to work with other people, it's quite similar in the fact that it's a matter of setting up meetings when the person you have to work with. I mean, I'm just being really obvious. It's just the time of the day, I think, and the focus, morning, afternoon, evening, or weekends, or daytime that changes.
Okay.
But I think
So
it's
that's
quite simple.
Okay.
So, Chloe, how do you balance your job as a video director with your own shows and then your me time on the other hand and your social life? Like, what is your biggest hurdle when it comes to finding a balance between, all these things that you want to do in life?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Well, I have been suffering from FOMO so badly my whole life. Like, fear of missing out has been my biggest enemy so far. So I've been in the past just said yes to almost everything, but like to the point that I would just leave one place, go to another. Like, it was insane. And I think probably COVID times taught me like the importance of stopping one second and actually choosing wisely how I want to spend my time. So actually, I think, the hurdle is FOMO, and how I prioritize, or how I pick things is basically stopping for a second, really thinking whether I have capacity and energy to do everything I want to do, and maybe following my gut in terms of picking the things that I really, really want to spend my spare time with, because my time is precious. I mean, every busy person really give a lot of value to their spare time. everyone should, to be honest. But I feel like I am trying to follow my gut in what I really want to do outside work, that is not necessarily work or network related, but that actually fuels my soul. So whatever it needs to be like a yes, like a hell yes, when I think, do I want to do it? If it's a I'm not sure, but maybe that person would like to see me, that's a no. So if you're not sure, it's a no. If you're like, yes, that's a yes.
I actually find that a very good tip, Chloe. Like, for real. It has to be a hell yes, or otherwise it's a no.
Correct.
Chloe, are there any like tools or apps, for example, that you use to like organize your daily life besides next to your paper planner, a digital planner as well?
Yes, I also have a digital planner. I need to have it to be able to actually function within the company I work with. So I also have Google Calendar on my phone, which is really, really helpful. And what else do I have to organize my life? Let's see. No, I think a Google Calendar, I mean, I really struggled and suffered when I had to kind of like also start using that, because it's something totally out of my comfort zone. I think now I got confident with that, and even send some diary invitations to friends to do some things, and remember like when it's a theater night and stuff, which is something that I had to learn being an adult, because otherwise it's like chaos. I know in Italy it's like, oh yeah, meet you around 6 in that place, and then when you turn up, you turn up. Here, of course, you need to be much more organized. So that's something I had to kind of like learn. But you asked me about tools. Let me think. Let me take a look at my
Yeah, or
phone.
maybe you have some help like in the household. I don't know, someone who comes cleaning regularly, or maybe someone is doing groceries for you, or you have them delivered at home. Are there like this like tiny things you do to make everything a bit more efficient, or is it all you who has to or who does that?
Good question. No, I have no help whatsoever. Well, I share I live with other 3 people. It's 4 of us in this massive Victorian house with a garden. So I'm still up for sharing with other people, because we're all kind of like, we have our own space anyway. We have our rota, but that's still paper. It's like on the fridge. We write like who does the house chores and what we need. So I think WhatsApp is the tool of like communicating and organizing kind of like household things. I don't know, like I find, for example, meditating in the morning, like the Calm app, really helpful. That helps me not really organizing myself, but every time I need to fall asleep or relax, I put on my Calm app, and that will really like knock me off. So it's not an organizing tool, but it's like a tool that I have to actually be able to switch off and relax, which is really good. Let me think. What else do I have? No, I think that's it. That's why I'm chaotic, I think, because I haven't really found that many tools apart from the Google Calendar and WhatsApp to actually help me out. But if you have any advice, please send my way.
So Chloe, the app you're using, it's the Calm app? That is the
Yeah.
way it is called? Okay.
Okay, never heard about it.
No, I think we should like look it up, because I think it's yeah, it could be good, if you say that it helps to make the switch. I think sometimes we're rotating, so fast, that it's sometimes hard to switch it off. So yeah, I will definitely look into the Calm app as well.
Okay. And you were talking about, you have these Italian roots, and so before you start working in London, did you have a certain idea about how London people will be? And is that true? Or finally, is it a lot of difference? Yes, probably there is a difference, but when you started there, you had for sure a certain idea about people in London, how they are organized, how they work,
Okay, there is let me think. One of the biggest differences, I think, between Italians and Londoners, or like, British people in general, is like the queuing. Like queuing here is like a religion, basically, I think. Like we have the Pope, you have the queues, like it's crazy. And I knew that like when I studied like English at school, I studied kind of like English culture a little bit. So I kind of knew that the queuing was a thing here, but I didn't realize until actually living here how vital queuing is for Londoners, especially. And I actually always wondered, like, for example, if you are in a coffee shop and you have like 5 tills, here they would do one big queue.
Yeah.
Like, and I could go in and I'm like, what the hell? Why don't everyone have like one till each, and you just like make the queue quicker and do less queue? But there is this huge queue throughout the whole shop, and I'm always like, and at the beginning I used to be like, what are they doing? And going to one of the free tills, and everyone would look at me like, what? But I'm like, why are you not using it? And recently I had this chat with a friend that is British, and I'm like, what is this thing where, and they're like, here they're really keen about like equality and everyone having the same service at the same time. So if you arrive first, you will get the till that is free first, and so you go. So you don't risk that one person that arrived like 5 seconds after the other person will go to a till that is quicker to go to first. And I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah.
They really adore the fairness of being like, I arrived 1 second before you, so I'm gonna get the free till.
It's true. It's true. Actually, in Belgium, it's also not really the queuing. We also don't know it.
We take the shortest queue.
We take the shortest way. I think like the Italian.
I'm busy. I need to go to the coffee when like that to me is like the biggest difference. And I'm baffled because like I've been living in London in December, like for almost 10 years, like 9 years and a half. And I only a few months ago, when I had this random conversation with my friend, my mind was blown because I was like, I've never really understood what's happening here. And now I get it.
Yes.
So that's to me, even like, for example, another one, like, I don't know about like washing the dish, like in the sink, like sharing the space with other people. I shared the place with like an English person, a French person, and then now another English person. Before was someone different. But when it's my turn to like do the kitchen and clean and wash and stuff, when I see dirty dishes around the sink, I clean them, I wash them with mine so that everything is clean, and that's it, and I go. I don't really care. But like the English person would leave the plates that are not hers on the side. Like even the first time, okay, but like even if it's her turn to wash dishes, she would not pick it up because she didn't use it. Like it's so strict. Like, like, I don't know. It's a different way of living. Like to me, it's much more chill and much more like, okay, if I cook, you can have some. But for some people, it's like, no, if I cook, I eat. Like, and it's not true of everyone, but like there are some ways of living and some ways of being flexible and some ways of being like fair that is a kind of like it's a cultural difference, which I didn't know that much until like actually living here for so long.
Okay.
I think in Belgium it's a bit the same, Chloe, when it comes to like, this is mine and I only do mine and I don't really share this thing. I think we also have that here. Thinking back of my own student time, we're a bit also more on ourselves. So yeah, I can get that is quite a difference with, the vibe sometimes in Italy and the way you do it there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then another thing about what I knew, but then I sort of like lived it on my own skin is like the being polite and the kind of like another massive difference that I noticed is that here they ask you how are you, but they don't really want to know how you are. It's just like being polite. And I've always struggled because at the beginning I was like, oh my God, I had this long day and they're like, okay, cool, bye. And I'm like, what? You just do you not like realizing that how are you is not actually meant to know how you are, but it's just like, you're right. Like that blew my mind as well. I was like, why do you even ask? Small talk is a big thing. And I'm not a small talk person. So sometimes when we have these gathering moments around, like, I don't know, the kitchen table at work and we're eating and someone is like, so how was your weekend? And I'm like, okay, how much time do you have to listen to this? Do you actually want to know how my week goes? Or it's just like a chit chat?
Polite question. Yeah.
Like sometimes, I mean, usually you can't really ask because it's weird and it maybe can be perceived as rude. But when I'm close to people, I sometimes just ask, and I prefer to go either deep conversation about real things or like not even chat but do my thing. It's I think that's strange. this is a funny story, but no, I can also adapt. I'm good at adapting, so I will just go like, how are you? Fine. But most of the time I found it difficult, because to me, if you ask me how I am, I will tell you. And if I ask you how you are, it's genuine, like wanting to know how you are, you know? So that's another big difference that living here I just realized. And then if you're friends and if you're closer, of course, but like the first contact with people, it's always really superficial, and probably it's good to get society like work faster. I don't know, but it's like such a massive cultural difference that I got used to. But I'm
And
still
do you think that the society is faster or working faster in London than in Italy, or yes?
Yes, yeah, of course, I think so. Yeah, I think productivity here is like, and going fast and achieving a lot of things is the priority, especially in the like in companies. Like when you are part of a company, it's like that's the priority. Whereas in Italy, it's more like I do my best to do something and I will do it, but I also need to have a good life. I also need to have my lunch break. I also need to make my pasta at lunch. I also need to have the time to hang out with friends. So here as well, but it's different culturally. In Italy, like your well-being usually is prioritized over productivity. And sometimes people see Italians as more lazy, but it's not that. I mean, they would work hard anyway, but it's a different way of approaching day-to-day life. And yeah, so yeah, I mean, I've always worked really hard, even in Italy, so I can fit. And because from my hometown, I moved to Milan, which is like the most similar city to London, and then to London. So I fit really perfectly in this kind of like career-oriented lifestyle. But I know that a lot of people, my friends in Italy, like my school friends, moms, families, they prioritize family. They prioritize spending time with beloved people, and not like just focusing on the career and then having your private life as a separate afterthought. So I'm not generalizing, but I think culturally it's a bit different.
Okay.
So,
We
Chloe,
have
I have one last question for you, and I know it is hard to like sum up everything into one advice, but if you could give like, you know, one piece of advice to busy women around the world when it comes to organizing, what would be your advice?
It would be to I think still, which is mine, is like follow your gut and just really, for your free time and the time you're not working necessarily, like really try and do everything that makes you happy. Because when you are happy also outside your career and work, that will make you really realize what your value is as a person, and then you are able to bring the value inside your workplace. Instead of like setting your value on what you do, you should actually kind of like really follow your heart and follow what your body and what your mind and your heart are trying to tell you. Do more of that outside work, and then you will be able to see and organize your time at work in a different way. Or at least this is what I've been doing in the last year, and it worked really, really well. Because instead of being chaotic, like I often am, being like, oh my God, I need to do so many things. When you calm your mind because you have something that makes you really confident about yourself and where you are in your life, that will also help you scheduling meetings in a certain way, or like prioritizing some kind of work and your time. So I'm a more emotional person, so that would be my advice, to actually then eventually give a better value and a better organization and prioritization to the career and the life and the job.
Okay.
And use a Google Calendar. I think that's that
that Google Calendar.
And the app we have to look up.
Yeah, we will. Okay, Chloe, thank you so much for sharing all your insights with us and the way you live there in London. It was super interesting to like hear your day-to-day life and what you find important in life as well. So yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.